Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So, folks, today I have the XRP chart open, and I have a lot to talk about. So, this fractal that you see on this chart is the original capitulation fractal that ever played out after a major XRP decline or bear market. So, this fractal took place in 2014, and it took place at the end of the 2013 XRP decline. Now, I've spoken a lot about this fractal, how it moves up, and it does this little peak. It does this little peak right here. Actually, this, you can move it here. That's probably a little more accurately aligned with that. And it does this swoop. So every time this pattern plays out, it plays out uniquely. However, the basic structure remains the same. Now, as you can see, it did not go below this low, which for the most part, for the lion's share of history, that's what this fractal usually does. However, there is an instance where it did not go below this low. So we do have a historical precedent for what we are seeing right here. Now, as you can see, it's moving up. It's gotten above this. So that gives me a lot more confidence that this is indeed the end of this decline and not something that would just fold over on itself and go to a new low. Now, there is still some headwinds that we need to be aware of. So here is the 200-week moving average. It needs to get above that and stay above that. What I'd like to do in this video is go through history and see what are the historical examples, or what does history tell us how far this move up has gone after this capitulation fractal. Now I'm going to zoom out and show you the full decline, so you can understand what this fractal is in the grand scheme of things. When XRP does a major decline, it repeats the same structure over and over again. It looks different every single time, but structurally, it's the same. I've spoken about this many times. I've labeled them from A to F. So, like I pointed out before, D pulls up right here, does this bull thing, then declines. And from there, price moves back up into E. It does a bull thing and declines into F. A sometimes is not there. B, C, they're more straightforward, just peaks. And as we discussed previously, here is the capitulation fractal. So let's go to the very first time that this fractal completed and we had a move up. Now this move up, folks, we are now in a new phase, assuming that this is indeed the end of this capitulation fractal, which completes the overall greater decline that XRP has been in since 2021. So it's been a while since we've been in this. So this is a momentous thing, folks. So now we are going to go into a phase where price moves back up. However, it's going to be a range bound and it's more sideways time that eventually leads us into the next bull run. So let's go back and examine this move up and get a feel for how far up it historically has gone. Okay, so here we are back in 2014. This was the end of the very first bull run and decline that followed in 2013. So this is the phase that we are going into next. And as you can see, price moves up, but it's not a bull run. But it does bring us into the next bull run. And there are some characteristics of this fractal that we are now moving into. So it moves back up. This has sort of like a split peak or two parts to this peak. Sometimes this is shorter than this part. Sometimes it's taller than this part. After this part right here, which I call A, it goes into a declining phase, and I call this B. Sometimes it winds its way down to a point. Sometimes it drops and just goes flat. The next fractal starts off moving back up again. So, folks, let's measure how high this has gone. So what I'm going to do, starting with E, so E, price moves up, it drops and forms this bowl. So I'm going to take it from the highest point here on E down to the trough here on F. And we're going to measure with Fibonacci retracement levels how high this retracement goes. Okay, so now that we have those Fibonacci retracements on, from the peak right here down to the trough here, we can see that this move up went a little bit above the 0.72 retracement level. So that is the first time this has retraced. Let's move along and see what else history has to show us. So folks, we don't need to move too far because the next decline, here's the capitulation of the next decline, which took place in 2015. And this move up, as you can see how this move up has, well, it has one peak right here, but mainly at the top, it's split into two. This one is lower than this one, and then it drops and kind of winds its way down to a point. Here is the A part, and here is the B part. This overall fractal is fractal 1. There are 3 fractals that we need to get through to get to the next bull run. 1, 2, 3. You see them? So let's look at the Fibonacci retracements. So the 1 is put where the E fractal peaks, and the trough is down here at the F fractal right here. So it moved all the way up to the 0 or to the 1 level. So it moved up to the 1 level, actually went above the 1 level. All right, so let's log that and move along and see what else we can discover. Okay, folks, here we are, and this decline took place in 2017. It was a very fast decline that you actually have to go into smaller time frames to actually see what's the pattern and the fractal characteristics as they played out. Here is the capitulation one, the F, and as you can see, this one just, wow, man, it skyrocketed. It went to the 2.618 level, or just below it. So that is quite a move up. Now, this is interesting because it's this capitulation fractal from this decline where we get the precedent, the historical precedent of that capitulation fractal not going below the initial low. So it's this fractal that we have a commonality to what is currently taking place on the chart. This is how much it moved up. Now, just because this is similar to what is happening today does not mean we will necessarily have a move up like this. But hey, let's make note of it and see what else history has to show us. Okay, folks, so here we are. Here's the peak right here at the top of E. The trough is down at the bottom of the capitulation fractal. This fractal is on a more vertical axis versus a horizontal one. But if you put that original fractal on this, it's similar. So as you can see, this one moved up quite a bit. It moved up to the, well, it's not quite as high as the other ones. It moved up to roughly the 0.618 level. Let's zoom in and see if we can get a better look at that. So here we are, the 0.618, and that is where it peaked out. So it's actually a little bit below it. So as you can see, it moves up, has the 2 parts to that initial peak. It kind of drops, winding its way down. At a certain point, it just starts going flat before it goes to the next fractal, which is fractal 2 in the overall sequence or phase that we are moving into. So let's move on and see where it brings us to next. Okay, folks, so that brings us to where we are today. So here is the E fractal with that bowl, and it's put at the top of there, the peak there, and in the trough down here. So we could say, from a historical basis, that the minimum we can expect XRP to move up, let me zoom in here so we can get a better look, is just below the 0.618, which would roughly probably be around 60, mid-60s, mid-60 cents. On the high side, it could go potentially up to the 2.618 around there, which is almost like $1.90 something. However, that would put it just below here. Folks, I would love for it to go that high. And who knows, maybe it will. But I'm not going to hold my breath necessarily for that. I would be more inclined to think that it would go somewhere maybe around the 702 or the 1. Let's zoom in a little closer. So here is the 702, and that is roughly around a 73 cents-ish, could be more, could be less, or the 1, which would be around 91 cents-ish. So if history is any guide, it's going to move up and then make those two little parts of that peak on the part A, and then it will wind down to a point on part B before moving back up in the next fractal. There are 3 fractals in this phase. The third one is what I call the spring, and that brings us into the next bull run. Now, I don't know how long this will take. This could be short, it could be long. Every time it plays out, it's different time-wise. I'm very bad at predicting time. You know, I'm a little under the weather today, so I am not at the top of my game, and after listening to some of this, I realized I missed a couple parts. First of all, the very first time price moved up, it went to the 0.702. I miscalled that in the earlier part of the video. And also, I'd like to go back to this real quick and highlight the pattern that I forgot to do. This was that quick decline that took place in 2017. Here's that F or capitulation fractal that matches what is currently happening today. So as you can see, the move up here has 2 parts, with the first one going higher, and then it drops down, declines to a point before the next fractal takes price back up again. And one other thing to note, the decline that came after this one that I just spoke to you about was the 2018 decline. Well, folks, I threw a lot at you. I didn't want to make this video this long. You know, if you find this type of stuff interesting, where I deep dive into the XRP chart and explore the different fractals and the chart structures, you should hit that subscribe button, because I put out videos on a regular basis and you'll be notified when I put videos out. You know, I'm not a financial advisor, so nothing I present here should be construed as financial or investment advice. However, if you did enjoy this video, it would be much appreciated if you hit that like button or that thumbs up. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.